Brian Mudd Show is on News Radio 610 WIOD.
Joining us once again, criminologist and professor, Tarleton State University, Dr. Alex Del Carmen. And Dr. Del Carmen, we've been taking a look at all aspects of what's happened in Afghanistan. One of the big concerns, especially as we come up on the 20th anniversary of 9/11, is how much more danger, or is there more danger for us as a result of the Taliban being back in control of Afghanistan?
Yeah, good morning, and thanks for having me again. I think, the day that we pulled out of Afghanistan is a day closer to a terrorist attack against U.S. interest overseas or in the United States. I'm really, really concerned, along with many experts in terrorism, that this is going to once again serve as a safe haven for training and logistical work and, in some cases, a launching pad for terrorism across the globe.
And Dr. Del Carmen, we take a look at what's changed in 20 years. Technology is the first thing that comes to mind. We saw this with ISIS. When ISIS was successful in carrying out their caliphate, it wasn't just about the people they were terrorizing in the Middle East. We saw their capacity to leverage technology result in radicalization here in the States and terror attacks that played out from Florida to California. What is the threat in this environment, especially where the Taliban still has active Twitter accounts?
Absolutely. It's pretty significant, right? If you look back at 20 years ago, right around 9/11, back in 2001, social media did not have an impact the way that it has now. People did not have access to cell phones the way they do now. And so to that end, Al-Qaeda doesn't really have to do much except, sit down in their living room somewhere in Afghanistan and basically start tweeting or sending emails or trying to recruit and radicalize many people on the home front. In addition to that, I would argue that our technology to defend our country has also improved, right? So our technology in terms of drones and various other things that we can do, is far more advanced than it was 20 years ago. But I would argue that the Taliban doesn't have to invest money. They don't have to send recruiters to the U.S. They don't have to radicalize people here in person. They can do it remotely from Afghanistan very, very quickly.
Speaking to Dr. Alex Del Carmen, criminologist, professor, Tarleton State University. Okay, so, how many people, I don't mean to ask you an unfair question, but I imagine if anybody knows, you probably have a pretty good read on it as criminologists. How many people are potentially susceptible to being activated by something like this?
Yeah, so we don't really know the answer to that, but what we do know is that it's not a small number, right? So the FBI, the NSA, various other entities across the United States are constantly monitoring, chatting, and various other components that are coming from overseas to the United States to radicalize people. Part of the problem that we have from a law enforcement perspective is we cannot really predict, or we're not able to really pinpoint exactly that one moment when the individual radicalizes himself or herself and begins to take action against our U.S. interest or against the United States. It can happen at any point. You could have somebody that could be dormant for 10, 15 years, and all of a sudden they decide one day that they're going to activate all of their energy and their radicalization against U.S. interest. And we had no way of predicting that. So we are really, truly fighting in a dark room, a threat that it's a matter of time before it happens again, unfortunately.
Any advice for those of us that want to try to do what we can to stay safe?
I would argue that the most patriotic thing that we can do is essentially conduct ourselves in a way that, we're going to go about our business every day, go to work, do what we need to do, but obviously be vigilant, obviously be aware. One of the things that we often are accused of by people around the globe is that we're very insular in the United States, and we only worry about domestic issues. But, we can't afford to do that, right? If there's a lesson that we learned 20 years ago with 9/11 is that we are a small world, and we have to be connected to those individuals that are friends of ours and those that hate us so that we can truly understand their motive and try to prevent the next attack on U.S. soil.
Always great information. Thank you very much, Dr. Alex Del Carmen.